in several parts of the world. And I think also we need to remind ourselves that members should, in the spirit of the resolution of 2006, also lead by example in human rights. And then we also need to look for the future. We have the gender issues, of course, and children's rights, and environment and climate change, and of course the age of digital communications, where you have a number of human rights challenges. But altogether, I think we should remember what I always told my young colleagues at the UN when they were somewhat frustrated about developments, that United Nations is a reflection of two things. It is a reflection of the world as it is, and it is sometimes not a pretty place, and particularly today, I would say. But the United Nations is also a reflection of the world as it should be. And our job is to reduce the gap between the world as it is and the world as it should be. And there, I think the Human Rights Council has an extremely important role, in the spirit, again, of the UN Charter, of putting the human being in the center. And I think you, by these 50 sessions, have moved the needle forward in the right manner. And that if you continue and bring in that momentum and be reminded of the purposes behind not only the resolution, but also the UN Charter, then I think we will be very grateful for your efforts. And I'm glad and thankful that you invited me to this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eliasson, for your words and your thoughts. Monsieur le Président, si vous m'autorisez une anecdote, à chaque session, vous utilisez votre marteau un nombre incalculable de fois, et si on devait calculer depuis combien de coups de marteau ont été utilisés depuis le premier jour, on arriverait à plusieurs dizaines de milliers. Sachez que le premier coup de marteau l'a été par Monsieur Eliasson lorsqu'il a ouvert la session du Conseil le 19 juin 2006. Donc c'est très important de l'avoir eu avec nous. Je voudrais me tourner maintenant vers Madame l'ambassadrice Supatra Simai Tripitak, représentante permanente de la Thaïlande aux Nations Unies. The outside world, if I may use these terms, are often considering the work of the Council through the exclusive lenses of action on specific country resolution, or the adoption of specific norms and standards in the field of human rights. But the Council is much more than that. And such is, unfortunately, the way we are living in with our network, which is becoming predominant, and it is proceeding in a way which we cannot, unfortunately, always monitor. Mrs. Simai Tripitak, Thailand has always spent a great deal of time and energy encouraging this Council and its stakeholders to focus on technical cooperation, which a rapid glance in the terms of Resolution 60/251 clearly identifies as a cornerstone of the nascent Human Rights Council. 50 sessions later, would you mind sharing your views as to whether technical cooperation is indeed used to the fullest extent possible, and how would you see this program evolved in the forthcoming years? You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. At the outset, I wish to thank the President for allowing me to be part of this high-level commemorative event. I feel very honored. And my thanks goes to Kun Eric for the introduction and the question. I will speak about the past to recall facts and what happened first, and then I will try to point out what would help us pave the way for the future so that technical cooperation can be used at the fullest extent possible. The operative paragraph 5A of the UNGA Resolution 60/251 in 2006 put it clearly that, I quote, "The Council shall inter alia promote human rights education and learning, as well as advisory services, technical assistance and capacity building to be provided in consultation with and with the consent of member states concerned. It is pertinent to note that almost 2 decades ago, our predecessors already recognized the relevance of technical cooperation to human rights work. There are 2 key messages in this paragraph 5A. 1, technical assistance is considered one of the priority missions of the Council. 2, it is necessary for the Council to consult and to get consent of the country in performing their missions, including in providing technical cooperation. During Thailand presidency of the Council 2010 to 2011, we saw that even though technical cooperation in the fields of human rights became more visible and gained more attention and support by a range of countries, especially developing countries and countries with human rights situation. Still, technical cooperation was not put into its place well enough to work as a pivotal tool that states could avail to improve their human rights situation or to fulfill their international human rights obligations, commitments, and pledges. This view was also shared by some countries then. For this reason, at the 18th session in 2011, Thailand, together with cross-regional core group members comprising Brazil, Honduras, Indonesia, Morocco, Norway, Qatar, Singapore, and Turkey, decided to table a resolution on enhancement of technical cooperation and capacity building in the fields of human rights, which was adopted by the Council. Traditionally, this resolution, with Thailand as the pen holder, has been adopted by consensus at every September session. The resolution has the mandate on us for 2 deliverables. 1, a panel discussion on specific topic to be held during Council June session, and 2, an OHCHR's report to serve as a basis for the panel discussion. It would be quite interesting to walk you quickly through our past series of panel discussions to learn how our deliverables have been crafted to address human rights and related issues along the history of the Council. Topic of each panel discussion and the OHCHR's report has touched upon both macro and micro issues of importance to us all by highlighting human rights dimensions, in particular those of specific and vulnerable groups. 2011, the panel focused on Universal Periodic Review, UPR, on the eve of its 2nd cycle before it was about to kickstart in the following years. 2012, the theme was chosen for strengthening of the judiciary system and administration of justice. Then the discussion on the rights of persons with disabilities, migrants, older persons, prisoners, especially women prisoners, and the right to education were very timely for 2013, 2015, 2018, 2019, and 2020 respectively. In the year of 2014, before the adoption of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development in the following year, the Council decided to highlight the theme on inclusive and participatory development and poverty eradication, the first goal of the SDGs that clearly involves the protection of basic human rights. 2017, the panel was dedicated to the overarching theme on human rights and the 2030 Agenda. 2016, the theme on a decade of technical cooperation and capacity building in the Council, challenges and the way forward was coincide with the 10th anniversary of the Council. And this year, 2022, the resolution adopted last year indicated that the theme on gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls, contributing to the momentum of the UN agenda on inclusive development and the agenda on women's and child rights within the Council. The panel discussion on the topic will be held on the 4th of July during this session. General debate and thematic panel discussions under Agenda Item 10 have provided a platform of dialogue and cooperation where states and all other stakeholders can discuss and exchange experiences, best practices, successes, and challenges in the field of human rights. It is well noted that such debates and exchanges have contributed to some tangible results. This platform has led some countries to develop technical cooperation programs with multiple stakeholders to improve their human rights situation on specific issues. It has also raised some awareness and impetus for states to request technical assistance from OHCHR. Let me now move on to certain points that would help us to see how we could use technical cooperation to the fullest extent possible. First, human rights approach should be integrated in countries' national strategies, policies, and work plans. Technical cooperation can play a role here. Through programs and projects, countries would be able to enhance capacity of relevant authorities to better adjust their practices in order to improve the work of human rights protection and promotion, which would be in coherence with international human rights commissions and other in parallel. These practices will also facilitate countries to better assess a need for institutional or structural transformation in human rights apparatus at national level. Moreover, countries would be in better position to consult and to give consent to technical cooperation work by the OHCHR if so needed. Second, technical cooperation and technical assistance are not the same. Technical assistance is merely part of technical cooperation. So cooperation carries the meaning that all countries, big or small, rich or poor, developed or underdeveloped, could take part in technical cooperation collectively and constructively. I am of the view that expansion of technical cooperation through collaboration and partnership will help alleviate the workload of the Council in the longer run by reducing the number of country-specific resolutions and the use of special procedures. Third, as indicated in the Op. 3 of the UN 60/251, the effective coordination and the mainstreaming of human rights within the UN system should be promoted. Therefore, technical cooperation function in the field of human rights should be incorporated in the works and programs of all human rights mechanisms, including OHCHR, HRC, special procedures, and especially UN country team. Each agency should complement one another in consultation with states to create a higher degree of complementarity with the efforts at national, regional, and inter-regional levels. Fourth, when technical cooperation and capacity building takes into account the needs and priority of country concerned, it would certainly enhance national ownership and effort towards implementation in a sustainable manner. Fifth, trend in presenting politicized resolutions under Item 10 should be avoided. Instead, constructive cooperation based on consultation with and with the consent of the state concerned